Well, hey y'all, welcome back to Cajun Country Clunkers. Today I'm going to be picking right back up on my project where I was attempting to rebuild the rear end in my 2012 Polaris Ranger 800 XP. If y'all was able to catch the last episode, you'll know that on the driver's side of this unit was pretty much a non-event. Put new axles, new brake shoes, completely redid the other side with almost no issues whatsoever. But whenever I jumped over here to the passenger side, I bit off way more than I was expecting. When I was in the process of disassembling the passenger side of this Ranger, the CV axle actually came in two and the spline end was still stuck in the rear end. And off and on for the last 3 days, I have tried soaking this thing in PB Blaster every day, rotating this hub assembly, spraying it again. I've drove wedges in behind this spline. I've pulled it with a chain and a bolt. I've popped it. I've done the things. I have, if you can dream it, this side of busting the housing, I have done it. But what I have had was a little time to think about this and enough time to design some type of hootis to be able to get this thing out of here. And I believe wholeheartedly, if I can get this spline removal hootis built, that we might just be in business. So let's get after it, y'all. Well, before I get too far into this, I want to just go ahead and throw this little elephant in the room out there. If y'all see this brake caliper down here, and you'll see the brake line that goes to it, you're going to see a cut right there in the top of it. And that's 100% Jimbo. I had a Metabo in there and I was trying to cut that stinking bolt off. The grinder jumped and I cut straight into the brake line. So that'll be something I'll have to add to the to fix list. Here's a quick little overview of what I'm going to try to build to get this thing off of there. So in a nutshell, I'm just going to be making a ginormous backhammer. This little piece of pipe here I have cut is the same OD as the spline shaft on the buggy. Then I'm going to weld that to the smaller pipe, which is actually a vent pipe that came off of a pipeline casing at a road crossing. This pipe will slide over this pipe, and this will be a handle for that pipe so I can yank it back and make a backhammer and have that good solid stop that I'm looking for. I'm fairly convinced that if I can get this hootis built, that it's going to work. I don't know at this point if I'm just being over optimistic, because I'm telling you, I have dug deep down into the box of tricks and there has been absolutely nothing budged this thing so far. So I'm kind of fearful that if this hootis contraption that I'm going to build does not work, I might have to pull this whole thing out and disassemble it completely to get this little shaft out of here. Now, one thing about this is y'all have not failed. So many people has jumped down in the comments and gave me different suggestions on what to do to try to get this out. And for the most part, I think I have tried just about all of them. I think this is just one of those situations to where it is just an extremely odd situation to where this thing is just stuck in there so bad that it's outside of the norm being stuck. Now, I've also got sense enough to know that if I keep pushing it, I'm going to damage it to the point to where I've got to pull the whole system out and rebuild it anyway, and I do not want to do that over a simple axle change. You know how it goes around here. I'll drag home an old project thinking it'll need one part, and the next thing I know, I'm buying a starter, a carburetor, a battery, and who knows what else. Those unexpected expenses can add up really fast. That's one reason I like Clover. If you're in a pinch and need a little extra cash before payday, Clover lets qualified users access up to $750. What I really like is that there is no credit check, no interest, and no late fees. It's a simple way to help bridge the gap when life throws you a surprise. Whether it's a vehicle repairs, groceries, gas, or just an unexpected bill, it's nice knowing that there's an option that's quick and straightforward. If you think Clover could help you out too, click the link in my video description to sign up. Using my link lets them know that I sent you, and it really helps support the channel. A big thank you to Clover for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back at it. Well, it definitely puts a smile on my face to see a tire and an axle and all of this stuff right back on this buggy where it's supposed to go. I'm telling you, it was after the battle. This old axle fought me every step of the way, but it just wasn't any match for a Hootis. Hootis wins 99 times out of 100. Let me get y'all in there where you can see, but this rear differential housing is pretty scarred up. I can't believe I was actually able to get that thing out of there without busting that housing. But much to my surprise, it worked this time. After I was finally able to get that rear end put back together yesterday, I went in, took a shower. I felt good about things until I got to sitting there for a minute and I was thinking, you know what? What if one of those front axles are just as bad? And I could not stand it. I came out here late yesterday evening, went ahead and blew this front end apart, and I'll have to say that both of those axles just snapped right out, like there was nothing to it. It was a complete cakewalk, but I did find a couple things that really raised the eyebrow whenever I was taking this front end apart, and it wasn't the things that I was expecting. Now the CV axles, they did have a lot of slop in them. They needed to be replaced. The brake shoes were completely gone, but let me show y'all what the number one concern is that I found. Well, there is the complete front differential with the drive shaft. Now the front differential is driven by this drive shaft from the rear of the vehicle, from the transmission. But that's not what my concern is. Look at this bottom ball joint. I mean, it is barely staying in there. One good hit, one good really, really deep hole at a high rate of speed, and that ball joint was coming out of there. It's barely in there. And the one on the other side is equally as bad. Now, I don't know why both of the bottom ones are in that bad a shape, but man, I am so glad that I seen that so I can get those changed. This one might be in a little better shape, but not much. At least the cup's still on this one. Now, the front passenger side wheel bearing, it's bad, but it's not falling apart. Everything is at least still all in one piece. But I am going to go ahead and change that being as I have it off. Now, this is something that really surprised me. The front differential with the drive shaft with both of these U-joints, I would have imagined that they would have been all kinds of wore out. I mean, there is a little bit of slack in them, but they're not too awfully bad. I'm going to go ahead and replace them being as I have it out. But in all actuality, other than just being dry grease, they're really not in that bad a shape. Before I get started changing the U-joints in this drive shaft, I always come through all of these couplings and put arrows in the direction that they're going in the forward position. A couple things happen whenever I do that. Whenever I line it back up to put the U-joints in there, the wire pattern stays exactly the same on both of these yokes on the end. And if it's a drive shaft with multiple sections in it, you don't get the parts confused. You can build it back without even having to question yourself. All you got to do is follow the arrows. That really wasn't a very bad job at all. Those U-joints popped right out of there despite how nasty they look and how crusty and muddy. I wire brushed them really good, soaked them with some PB Blaster, and I was able to whip check them right out of there. Now, I'll have to tell you, I probably wouldn't even had to change those U-joints, but you know, ever since that buggy was brand new, I've never been able to grease those joints. There was something wrong with both of those grease zerks in there, and I could not ever get them to take grease. When I took it out, I could see that it was some kind of a little solid plug thing in the end of them. I don't know what's up with that, but on these new U-joints, I've taken my time, and on the first one, I've got the grease zerk oriented as such, so when I put it in there, I'm gonna be able to get to it with that grease gun and keep these greased, and hopefully this set of U-joints will last for the life of this buggy. Now, one thing I know that I'm gonna get questioned about whenever people pays close attention to that time lapse is that I actually did not remove the front yoke from the front differential. And the reason for that is I just didn't have to. Now, if I was gonna remove the drive shaft from the buggy, take it out, there's a roll pin in there. And it is a booger to get out of there. I don't know if you've ever taken one out or not, but it is not fun to do. Being as I had taken the whole unit out, I can leave it on that front differential and change all the U-joints, put that one in last, and install the whole thing again, and I never even have to fight that roll pin. So it's kind of one of those things, you know, work smarter, not harder. Be smarter than what you're working with, or at least try to be. Sometimes I fail miserably, but you know, sometimes it works out. We're getting closer all the time. Now the front driver's side is done now. I've got a new axle put in the differential. I've got new ball joints, top and bottom. We have brand new brake pads right in there. Looky there, looky there. Got tons of brakes, brakes for days. And also we have the new bushings on the shocks, on the top and the bottom. Brand new bushings, no slack. Everything is tight as a drum. Y'all check this out. Look how thin these brake shoes were. These brake pads are almost gone. I mean, that's thin as a kitchen knife. Look at that. Oh, I can't believe I'm even showing y'all that. Moving on over here to the passenger side, I've got the upper ball joint put in, and that's about it. So we still have the shock bushings to put in. I've got to replace this bottom ball joint and the brake shoes. And when I get that done, all of these components and joints will be like brand new. And when I get all that done, the only thing I'm going to have left is to replace this back brake line that I cut with a grinder. And I should be back in the riding business. Well, working on down the list, I have the new shaft installed. I have both upper and lower ball joints installed. I have the shock bushings installed. And now I'm ready to move on to this wheel bearing. Now, when I grabbed this hub assembly and pulled it apart so I could change this wheel bearing, I would say that it was bad. I mean, it just fell all to pieces. The races are separated. And the more I worked towards getting this thing to completion, I realized it was a smart idea just to go ahead on all four corners and go ahead and rebuild all this stuff. Because, I mean, look, that's the ball bearings right there. This thing 100% would have left me stranded.